Hey everybody, how we doing out there? What's going on, Mark? Lisa, how you doing? All right, great to have everyone here. And we'll go ahead and we'll get jumping right into it. We'll start off and jump right in because, we're going to jump right in because the world right now makes less sense than a South Park episode written by ChatGPT. All right. But, it's funny because South Park nailed it again this week. And I think it's official that animated fourth graders are explaining society better than a lot of our leaders are, which is pretty crazy, right? At this rate, Cartman or Kyle might become the chairman of the Federal Reserve, and we might still be messed up, but at least we know that new policies will come with cheesy poofs. Cheesy poofs, I think he says. What's going on, Phoenix? How you doing? Hey, Jill. Meanwhile, we've got Putin still flexing his muscles out there in his big war games, 100,000 troops. Some say 20,000, some say 100,000 with Belarus. Okay. Wow. Pretty impressive. But it's kind of like, I guess, half the line you have outside of a stadium or a Costco on a busy day when some new special's going on. So he can't impress us. He doesn't impress us that much. And we got Xi over on the other side, just faking the funk with everything, copying everything, cheating, stealing, new technology. It's funny, but she kind of reminds me of that kid that's got the knockoff Nike sneakers, but thinks and insists that they're cooler than the real ones. And it's like, no, kid, yours still are spelled wrong and still have, little light up bottoms as you go. So we're going to take a look at some of that later too. It's funny because while you've got Putin and Xi, Putin flexing his muscles, Xi showing off his knockoff stolen technology, which is really what it is, which is pretty funny because we don't talk about that as much anymore. Meanwhile, we've got the leaders in the Pentagon dying to unlock the latest, greatest weapon systems. And I feel like they're back there whispering, saying like, no, not yet. Just wait till they do something really stupid and then we'll pop it on them. I feel like we do that every year. We release something new, like the latest ship sinkers, these ship killers that we have out there that are designed to kill the Chinese carriers, right? Chinese ships that are dropped from B-2 bombers and these amazing missiles, I guess, that have AI on board and they just fire and forget and they travel and blast them. So that had their heads in loops for sure as well. And while they're waiting to do something stupid, a lot of wild stuff going on in America right now, right? A lot of crazy stuff. What's going on, Jasmine? What's going on, Nick? How you doing? That's right. Gets offended by Pooh Bear. China has a bit to go. I agree. They're flexing up. They're trying to level up. But, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on right now. And you know what's crazy? I'll have to say about American politics right now is that 80%, a poll, 80% of Americans, left, right, in between, independents as well, all agree on something. That's democracy and free speech are being ruined and pretty much getting broken. All right. They're in danger. Finally, we've got some unity on something, right? But instead of fixing it, some people's ideas, as we've seen in the news, some people's ideas of fixing it is using political violence. That's like trying to use AI to cure cancer, that nightmare scenario we've seen where you use the AI to cure cancer and instead it wipes out humanity. Great job, you cured cancer. We're all dead. Okay, same type of thing. Meanwhile, while that's going on, everything is so damn expensive out there. As I was researching for the show today, I saw the huge rises in the cost of living in so many different ways. And meanwhile, it's harder to get a job. I mean, you have to get a cosigner just to buy eggs at the store, it seems. So, and then the price of everything is going up. Finding a job is harder than finding like a parking spot at Trader Joe's or at the grocery store. It's crazy. So a lot going on out there right now. And meanwhile, somehow, some way, we still find a way to get credit cards. Banks are like, yeah, you have no documentation. Don't worry. You don't even have to tell us how much you make. Just tell us how much you make. Okay, you make that much. Great. Here's 5 credit cards. Fill them to the max. Trust me, this is a true story. 5 credit cards, fill them to the max. And if you can't pay them back, too bad. Now you're a slave to debt. Welcome. Suffering builds character. You're suffering and your fear and your anxiety from all the debt that you're in right now. All right. So, we've got Putin and Xi. We've got credit card debt. We've got crazy stuff happening. All kinds of crazy stuff happening. But the worst thing I think about is, we've got cancel culture, all this other stuff. We need to cancel the Kansas City Chiefs. That's who we really need to cancel because they've beaten my Bills so many times over the past few years in the playoffs that's who we need to get rid of. I feel like Patrick Mahomes is some kind of AI mock-up, and the way he plays is just stupid. So hopefully those guys get knocked out. Hopefully the Kansas City Chiefs get canceled and they get kicked out of contention against my Bills. They've got to clear the path for the Bills this year. This is the year. All my Bills fans out there. All right. So tonight we're going to cover a lot of cool stuff. We got a great show tonight. We're going to talk about geopolitics, life in America, and your strategy to not only survive, but thrive in all the chaos, okay, and all the madness that is out there today. We're going to help you build an unstoppable mindset and form a financial escape plan, okay, an escape hatch that's going to be bulletproofing your future, all right? Because we got to protect our energy, you got to protect your financial future, you got to protect your mindset, you got to protect your health and longevity, okay? Because a lot of great things are on the horizon coming for us. And so we're also going to be doing the leadership lessons from South Park again. And of course, we're going to cover tonight a little twist, the latest absurd news that's out there, and proving that reality hasn't just gone off the rails, but it's absolutely gone bonkers and is off the road, off the rails, and driving a friggin' golf cart in the Walmart parking lot. So I'm excited to get this kicked off today. Thanks for everybody being here. Shout out to Jonathan. I didn't say, hey, Jasmine, Becky, what's going on? Great to have you guys here. And let's go ahead and get this thing rolling. So talking about what's going on, first of all, in our country, life in America right now, how expensive everything is getting, and, how do we survive? How do we get by with all this? And we've got enough stress as it is, enough tension as it is with everything going on in the news, right? I mean, I'm not going to beat a dead horse of everything that's going on. We'll hit on some of that later. But right now, I mean, the cost of living again has been going up. I'm going to share a little video right now, okay? So we can take a look at this and frame the problem a little bit and understand what is going on. What is going on out there, okay? Let's see this. Here we go.
Do you know how Americans voted for immigration? Like, listen, there's just too many illegal people coming here. But it looks like the economy in the U.S. is kind of pricing Americans out to the point where Americans, expats, are moving to Mexico, Spain. And Mexicans and Spain folks are saying, get the hell out of here. You're pricing me out. I mean, what are we doing here? Do you know how Americans voted for immigration?
Isn't that interesting? Isn't that kind of interesting right there? And again, put your comments, put your thoughts in the chat. All right, how he's saying Americans are being priced out of their own country. Right? We're being priced out of America. And we're trying to move and go to different places. Right? And being priced out of living here. And so a lot of people are moving abroad, but they're being, ironically enough, Americans are being told, you're making it too expensive for us and we don't want you here. Okay. So, I mean, it's almost like karmic a little bit, right? It's a little bit of karma in a way, kind of. So I may be using it may be misplaced, but that's kind of how it appears to me. Really quick, just a quick check on the sound check there. Could you guys hear the video okay? Put it in the chat if you can hear the video okay. He has a great channel. Let me know if you guys can't hear or see or anything like that. Just keep me informed and we will deal with it as we go. All right, so I mean, that's part of it right there, is that life has been getting so expensive for us in the United States. I mean, it is crazy though, but a lot of food items in the grocery store have basically become like luxury items. Okay. And people have to make, okay, great. Perfect. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Sue. How you doing, Sue? Good to see you. Good to have you here. I don't really see you, but I see your name on there. All right. Awesome. Thanks, Lisa. And so, I mean, let's take a look at another video. This is going to explain the situation even a little bit better. And again, what my point is, what I want to do, okay, is we're going to paint the picture of the pain, of what's going on, of the hardship, the context we're all living in, right? And then we're going to talk about the strategy later on, the second part, okay? We're going to talk about the strategy, how to get ahead and win, how to not just survive, but to thrive, okay? In the chaos and all the situations we're finding ourselves in as things get harder, more expensive, so on and so forth. So let's take a look at this. All right. Another interesting video here.
New data is out from the Labor Department, and it shows inflation ticked up last month. The Consumer Price Index rose by nearly 3% in August from the year before, and in just 1 month, inflation increased by 0.4%. Economists expected the inflation rate to rise as President.
So if we look at that, right, if it's going up by 0.4%, we're looking at inflation to go up significantly over a year if that continues, okay?
Trump's sweeping tariffs push prices higher. For more on this, let's bring in CBS News Money Watch correspondent Kelly O'Grady. And Kelly, as we mentioned, economists say this inflation increase largely they're driven by the president's tariffs. What kind of products are seeing the biggest spike?
So when you look at the products that are impacted by the tariffs, in this particular report, you saw apparel, tools and hardware, living room furniture, motor vehicle parts. Those are things that we are getting from other countries. And then one that you and I drink a lot of, coffee, right? That soared 21%. Oh, wow.
Eggs went up 10%. 10%. 10.9% for eggs over year. Okay. Coffee, 20%. Furniture and bedding, 4.7%. Food, 3.2% overall. Alcoholic beverages, 1.9%. God bless America, right? We're keeping the alcoholic beverages inflation as low as possible. Got to keep it flowing. Absolutely crazy. Okay, so if you've been feeling that, and put it in the chat as well too, because I don't know about you, but I've been noticing it. I've been noticing lately, okay? I'm dealing with a little button issue there. I've been noticing lately, I don't know if you guys have, but yeah, but noticing that life is more expensive. You go to the grocery store, okay? You go to the grocery store, you go to an average grocery store, you walk out of there, okay, you fill up your grocery cart with whatever, the average filled up grocery cart. It's like, it's more expensive than ever, okay? More expensive than ever, and you really have to use a lot of cost-saving strategies, even at the grocery store, okay? And like I was saying, and the joke I have is that, you have to have a cosigner to get eggs today, right? And that eggs are a luxury item. It's like a Fabergé egg, like we're getting like some kind of fancy luxury, bejeweled item, okay? But it's not. Booze is the lowest, that's right. And so why is this? And really, it's puzzled me, okay? And maybe for some people it hasn't, but that's why I'm adding in the show here, all right? So we're going to take a look at this. And again, we're going to talk about how to deal with it later. But first of all, we got to know what we're dealing with. You got to know why you're seeing more expenses. Why do you feel like you have less money right now? Okay, why all these things? And so we're going to keep on examining that, and then we're going to figure out what to do about it afterwards, all right? Let's check out this next one. Let's check out this next little video I got here. Frame up this problem nicely, okay? And then also, I've heard this a lot from people I've worked with, that it's very hard to get a job. I recently worked with a young tech, okay, computer science type person, and very difficult right now. The job market, very difficult for a lot of people. And I think, you all can attest to that as well too. Do you feel that if you lost your job, you could easily find another job? Do you feel that there are a lot of opportunities? And maybe this is something that it feels like that all the time, but I don't think so. I think we're in a little different space right now, and that also has to do with AI. Okay, I'm aware of that too. But let's check this out.
It's getting harder to find work in the United States. In August, businesses added just 22,000 new jobs.
That's actually quite a weak number. Looking at that in isolation, that would actually be a lot more consistent with the start of a recession, historically.
Gone are the days of 200,000 jobs every month. We're likely to be in an environment where job growth is hovering around zero, essentially.
The U.S. labor market is worse than previously thought. Less than half of the people polled by the New York Fed say they could find a new job if they lost their current one.
Downside risks to employment are rising. And if those risks materialize, they can do so quickly in the form of sharply higher layoffs and rising unemployment.
Okay, so recently, The CEO of JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon, I believe he's still the CEO, had said as well too, we're looking like we're heading into some kind of recession territory, but there's some conflicting things as well too, okay, where we're probably not, my opinion, just my synthesis of everything that I've studied and researched, we're probably not heading into a recession, but we have recession-like factors that are out there. If you know something about it, or if you're doing any real-time fact check, throw it in the chat so we all benefit from it, okay? I like the participation as well if you find something different. But that's my understanding. So we have some very recession-like factors going on right now, okay? And so why are you feeling that way? Why are you feeling like maybe wage growth hasn't gone up, inflation's causing goods, food, housing, everything to go up? And so we feel strapped, right? We're feeling really strapped. You're feeling, like a lot of Americans today are feeling as though they don't have the money they need, right? And the debt we're all in. So many people are in credit card debt, personal loan debt, auto loan debt, okay? It's very real because you're finding that you're buying depreciating assets while things are going up in price and they immediately have no value for a durable good like a car, right? If you know about buying cars, preferably you don't want to buy a new car, buy it at least 2 years old, okay? I've made that mistake a couple times buying a new car and then all of a sudden realizing, well, the car's not worth the money I owe on it, okay? And so how do you get out of this if you need to? It's very hard. So you have to tap in and either sell assets or you have to pay it down. You have to put double payments, all these different things. And then you're really working just to fuel your lifestyle, but you're not preparing yourself for retirement. That's one. The other thing is you're not preparing yourself for financial independence someday, all these different things. And maybe life is just such a struggle because you're working 2-3 jobs. Okay, so we're going to talk about all that. But the things you're experiencing are real. Some of it is systemic. Some of it is our own damn fault. Okay, some of it's our own damn fault too. All right. So, the thing is that the credit card debt, these loans, it's like perfecting a type of slavery, as Dave Ramsey would say, right? So instead of chains for slavery, you've got banks like Chase Bank and US Bank, you name it. Okay, not to disparage any of them, but just as an example. Okay, let's check out this other video, and we're going to keep on going a little bit deeper into this. All right, so what do most people do about it? How do we finance this living? Well, Dave Ramsey's going to tell us how we finance this living and what we're doing. Okay? Or Mr. Mackey says, okay.
Americans owe almost $1 trillion in credit card debt. 78% of you that use credit cards do not pay it off every month. Americans owe almost
I'm laughing because of what you said, but I'm also laughing because I've been guilty of that. I've been guilty of that right there, for sure. If you've been guilty of that, put it in the chat. Okay, misery loves company. But sometimes you feel like it's necessary, but you don't realize you're getting trapped. You're getting trapped, okay? Yeah, you may grow your own fruits and veggies, right? But so, food loans, right, exactly. But you get trapped because the interest payments are like 15 to 22%, sometimes higher. And so the next thing you know, it's a snowball effect where you're paying to pay down the credit card, but the interest payment is significant, like, a few $100s sometimes in some people's cases, and then paying the principal and the interest, you can't get ahead, okay? So we're going to talk about how to deal with that as well too, all right? And I'll tell you, it seems like the American dream used to be owning a house, owning your car, having the American dream, getting independent, being able to retire, getting a pension, all those things like that. Now the American dream is surviving without having an OnlyFans account. Yeah, I said that. I went there. Okay. I hate to say it, but there are a lot of people doing a lot of crazy things to make money, right? And this isn't the judgment time, anything like that. I'm just saying there might be some other things we can do instead of doing that, okay? So let's go ahead, check out this other video, and then we're going to get into it a little bit more. All right. Let's check this out. So with all of this, people not paying down their credit card debts, everything being so, their credit card debt, everything being so expensive, okay? Kind of this changing of the American dream. I still believe in it, but it's a little trickier. We got to navigate it. We got to have that escape hatch. We got to have that financial plan set. It's going to take a lot of discipline, okay? And we're going to talk about that later a little bit. But let's listen to this. So what's happening to a lot of people? And this is what's happening to a lot of people.
In part because more and more Americans are falling behind.
So first of all, I'll just say this, okay? FICO credit scores are dropping for the second year in a row to most Americans, to many Americans, okay? So they're overall dropping. So they're still on average fairly decently high from what they're saying. Just giving you the executive summary here, the brief, all right? What they're saying in this video, in this news report. But the problem is that they're trending downwards, okay? The trend is no longer upward trend. It's a downward trend right now for the second year in a row, okay? So let's listen.
This year, as you mentioned, the biggest since 2009 during the Great Recession. Credit scores, they're still pretty high, moving in the wrong direction, in part because more and more Americans are falling behind on their bills. FICO says that delinquency rates are at or near the highest level since 2009 on car loans, credit cards, and also on personal loans as well. And Gen Z, they're under even more pressure. FICO says that credit scores for Gen Z down by the most of any age group since 2020. And part of that problem, of course, is student debt, right? Starting in February, they started to report delinquencies on student loans for the first time since COVID. And FICO has found that a record high 29% of people who have student debt have been reported as delinquent.
All right. A lot happening there, okay? Obviously, there's some policy things there, stuff like that. The bottom line is, like, again, you guys know me. I'm politically independent. I say whatever, how I call it, how I see it. I'm never trying to research for one political leaning or the other. I'm just looking for facts and data and information and synthesize it, and we come up with a strategy on how to win, okay? The whole point of this podcast and the whole point of this show, this YouTube channel, is to upgrade your life and to help you win in life and help me win in life in the process, right? I'm learning with you guys, right? I'm on the journey with you. Like I say, I'm not the guru up on the mountaintop. I'm moving and shaking, and I'm fight, bite, and scratch to get ahead and to do what I have to do, to make things better. Obviously in a legal, ethical, and moral way, the best I can according to my values. And so, yeah. And so, I always enjoy the good banter in the chat there and the good ideas coming up. So I appreciate that, what you guys are saying. Okay, so put in the chat what you think about this so far and what you've experienced at the pump, what you've experienced in the grocery store, what you've experienced with jobs, wage stagnation, anything like that. Or the opposite. Tell me I'm wrong. Say, Ben, I haven't seen that. And that's great too. Honestly, this is just what I've found. I didn't search for one particular thing. I wanted to take a look at this, and this is what I came up with, okay? The current context that we live in. Again, if we don't know what the problem is, we can't frame the problem, we can't move forward to actually form a plan and a strategy on how to make significant lasting change in our lives, positive lasting change, right? We don't want to change for the negative. That's not always good, all right? So I think it's really important that we understand that, where we're in, and I understand the difficulties. So as we start to, let's go ahead and we're going to expand out our aperture a little bit. Okay. We're going to go ahead and expand out. We're going to take a look at what's going on in the world that's going on at home right now. All right. Among some other negative news, things like that. Like I always tell you guys, focus on what you can control before you get deluded, before you get unfocused and you start drifting and you're worrying about, a lot of the negative things that are going on out there, okay? I mean, there's a lot of violent news too, right? We had the shooting of Charlie Kirk. We had, the woman murdered on the train. We've got, if we dive into probably Chicago inner city news, we'd find, things happening, okay? People being killed, gang violence, or, crime, all these things. Listen, it's there for you anytime you're going to research and look at it. But I have to ask you this. First of all, you need to ask, what can you really do about it? How can you make a difference? If you can with your voice, great. If you can with your vote, great. Do it. Okay. If you can with your pocketbook, great. Do it. Okay. Do what you can do that you think you need to do. All right. And then you got to get to work though, because if you lose focus and you lose your mental discipline, you don't control your mental focus, your energy will go out. And then if you have compounding, growing accumulating credit card debt and you haven't done anything about it, okay, and you're too busy doom scrolling, looking at all the bad things out there that frankly, you're not fully responsible for, okay? I want you to be a good citizen, obviously, right? We want to, but you got to stay in your lane. You want to do the right things, but you got to stay in your lane, all right? Remember the serenity prayer. I talk about that all the time. That's been a game changer in my life. Lord, give me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, okay? Like I said last Sunday, the serenity prayer does not start with, Lord, give me the courage to, fight in the comments section of the doom scrolling, of the latest rage baiter. We talked about rage baiting, okay? Don't rage bait yourself. You got to stay focused. And that means, policing up what you're looking at. And so what am I doing right now? I'm not trying to bring you down with the state of the economy and the state of, of financial situation. We are looking at the problem and what we can do about it. Because some of these things, we're going to go into it, we can actually control ourselves, especially what Dave Ramsey was just talking about, okay? So what we're choosing to spend our money on, what we're choosing to put our time, energy, and money into, okay? And so let's take a look at this strategic situation. We're going to pull out the lens a little bit, okay? We're going to zoom out and look at what is going on. What's going on right now with Russia, China, all right, and NATO, because again, these are the big mega trends, mega forces I think we need to really take a look at in the world that could change our lives, all right? War with Russia, NATO war with Russia could definitely be a game changer and change the current state of the world as we know it, all right? We don't need to ask anybody else. Look no further than Poland and how they're probably feeling right about now, okay? So let's go ahead and check out this video. And we will take a look at what is happening. All right.
Putin seems to be following Lenin's famous probe with bayonet strategy.
Okay. Probe with bayonet strategy. That's what he was saying there. I don't know if you guys could hear that because first time I listened to this, I couldn't understand what he was saying. But probe with bayonets, meaning lead with your bayonets. And he says, if you encounter mush, like soft people or soft things, keep going. If you encounter steel, stop and retreat. All right. So let's listen to that.
Seems to be following Lenin's famous probe with bayonet strategy, as recounted by Richard Nixon, of all people. Quote, if you encounter mush, proceed. If you encounter steel, withdraw. Finally, after the violation of Polish airspace, NATO fighter jets were activated and shot down the Russian drones. Some here feel that Europe is often slow and feckless, but no one doubts that it wants Ukraine to win this war. The central question in everyone's mind is, what is the Trump administration's actual goal? Trump speaks of putting pressure on Putin, but then does this in a bizarre, indirect fashion, punishing India for buying Russian oil under.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there. What I want to say for that, okay, is that, again, listen to what Fareed Zakaria says. Putin definitely is going to push and push and push until he encounters stiff resistance, okay? Until he encounters strong political will, like shooting down the drones. And even then, they're doing it again now. More incursions into NATO territory, into Poland, okay? And we'll take a look at this some more, but this really could be a gray zone operation where they're trying to desensitize the Poles or make them hypersensitive to where, here's how it works, right? You make them hypersensitive at first by doing, constant drone incursions, constant just, small incursions into their territory with helicopters, with drones, troop movements, massing troops at the border, okay? Until they become so used to it that they don't react so strongly anymore, okay? And then they invade. This is part of gray zone operations. This is what they did, I believe, in the Donbass before they invaded. The same type of thing. So everybody's thinking, is this so crazy? This is a crazy idea. Putin's not going to take us back to 1939. I mean, we have to look at the psychology of the man. We talked about this last week, okay? I think he's fully capable of it. Again, because he can't stop what he's doing right now. Where is he going to go? There's no retirement plan. What's he going to do? Is he going to step down? He can't step down. They'll kill him. There's no way, in my opinion, he survives stepping down as a leader he won't have the resources. People will turn against him. Okay. So he has to keep it going. He has to keep it going. So, and so I want to say this is that with India, okay, with the tariffs on India, and even though Fareed was criticizing the Trump administration for that, at the same time, it is something effective, because if you take away the income source for the Russian oil, you stop that income, you stop the purchasing of Russian oil, the Russian war machine will dry up, right? Their reserves will dry up. They won't be as bold without the money. If they're flush with cash from selling oil, they're going to be bolder. Okay, so it's actually a pretty strong political move to do that, using an economic weapon instead of instead of risking war with Russia. Okay, so it is a smart move, but it probably has to be a combination. All right, so okay. All right, let's keep on rolling here. As always, I'll hit your questions in the comments as we go in between each segment. But let's take a little bit more of a look inside and see what else is going on with this situation. Okay, with kind of the world, what's happening, and see what the Russians are thinking. To have a little take. We haven't taken a look at their perspective on it, but we have a little perspective. It's not from them, but it's from the statements they've made. They think NATO's at war with them right now.
Ukrainian drones hit a major Russian oil refinery on Sunday. President Volodymyr Zelensky says his country will be targeted more.
We're gonna rewind this one all the way to the beginning. Here we go.
The United States stands by our NATO allies, and rest assured, we will defend every inch of NATO territory.
The United States is helping NATO after more Russian drones invaded NATO's airspaces in Poland and Romania over the weekend. France did send jets up to patrol the skies as a precaution. Now, a spokesperson for Russian President Vladimir Putin said this morning NATO is now, quote, at war with Russia. And meantime, Ukrainian drones hit a major Russian oil refinery on Sunday. President Volodymyr.
All right. So NATO is at war with Russia. Okay. So again, there's a lot of instability out there. And so, with this, and so as you're encountering what's going on, you're feeling the reverberations, the shocks in the economy, or you're feeling more tension. This stuff is still going on out there, right? With Russia saying they're basically NATO's at war with us right now after shooting down the drones. Okay, make no mistake that this is something that could really alter the course of our current, of our country's course right now. It could alter the course of history, all those things like that. So it's something definitely to keep an eye on. And, I would never make the mistake of thinking that Putin is not capable of invading Poland. All right. Especially with an alliance with China, as I talked about last week, the possibility of a coordinated invasion of Poland while, NATO's occupied, the United States is occupied by Article 5, while China invades Taiwan. Okay. And yes, the U.S. is strong, but this would really stretch us thin. This is a nightmare scenario, a perfect storm. And I know we've been preparing for a two-front war, but this one would be a doozy for sure. Make no mistake. And then you add on top of that, okay, not to be the doomsday guy over here, all right, Mr. Warm and Friendly, Mr. Warm and Fuzzy, but, you add in the doomsday scenario of Iran, okay, or Israel, someone doing a retaliatory strike against Israel. That's someone being Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Iran, okay, you name it. We've got a lot of stuff happening. World War III is then in full swing, okay? So we got to keep our eye on all that and just be aware of what's going on as we zoom the lens back further, okay? So we understand, so we're informed with what's happening strategically as we zoom out the lens a little bit, all right? But I want to say that Russia has been actually, in the course of these the drills, the military exercise they've had in Belarus, they've actually been doing a nuclear attack drill, right? How to do a nuclear strike, okay? They've been rehearsing this. And it's funny, but nothing says stable leader like rehearsing Armageddon, right? Right on the Polish border with NATO. Nothing says Putin is, come on, no, he's stable. No, he wouldn't do anything. Right, come on. I've heard all these things like, Putin, no, really? Okay, and he's massing troops on the border. He's done it before. They're rehearsing how to launch tactical nuclear strikes, right? Just that alone, the rehearsal is a threat, okay? Because here's why. A threat is a capability, okay, plus the intention to use it. That forms a real threat. A credible threat is when someone has a capability plus the intention. You can have the capability while demonstrating that you would never use it in this way, even making statements, right? But Putin has said it many times throughout the course of this whole Ukrainian adventure, the Ukraine war, all right, invading Ukraine and, annexing Crimea, that Russia would use tactical nukes, would use nukes if they had to, if they felt threatened. Okay, he said that. So here he is doing it again, playing the crazy card. The thing that concerns me is that, he's trying to play the crazy card, but, you got Trump in office right now, right? President Trump. I don't know how he's going to react to that. I think it's just a more volatile situation. Then she as well, too. I think this is a more volatile situation. That's why I'm talking about it. It's a more volatile context overall with these leaders and the posturing, but I believe also the very real credible threat of using a tactical nuke or invasion, you name it. I don't think any card is off the table in this case, especially with a leader like Putin, who, like I told you before, he's got, I believe, nowhere to go after the presidency. Again, he's held on for 24 years at this point, 26, 24 years. So since he's 71, so he's been in power since he was 46, I believe. And someone put it in the chat if I'm wrong. Okay. So we all have accuracy there, but that's what I think. I think he's riding the tiger, like I told you before. And if he gets off the tiger is going to kill him and eat him. The tiger is the people. The tiger is the country. Okay. All right. Let's go over and let's take a look at what is going on over in China. Because meanwhile, like I said, Putin's flexing his muscles. President Xi's over there with his knockoff sneakers, trying to act like he's the cool kid. And Putin's like, all right, you can come along. You can be cool. Even though, China's got some significant power and economic power as well, too. He's not quite as cool as bad guy Putin, right? He's not as cool of bad guy as Putin is. And I'm going to show you why here. Okay. So we're going to take a look at this and see why. All right, here we go.
You would think the country that invented the compass, gunpowder, and paper would continue on its path of innovation in the 21st century. But to the contrary, in recent decades, China has earned an international reputation as a copycat. Not only does China operate fake Apple stores and manufactures knockoff watches and phones, but it also builds replicas of entire European towns, like Paris.
I did not know that. Until I saw this video, I had no clue that they built replicas of entire European towns. Okay, that's kind of freaky. Honestly, it's really pretty weird, actually. Why go there? You don't have to go there. You don't have to travel anywhere. Stay right here. We'll build the town for you. That's pretty freaky. That's wild. That's like a giant Disney World, right? Like Small World, but on steroids, man. This is pretty nutty overall. I'm not gonna lie to you. That freaked me out. All right, let's keep watching.
Builds replicas of entire European towns, like Paris. But that's nothing compared to communist China building clones of advanced American military equipment. In this example, they got almost everything right, except for putting the tail upside down. In 2013, the Washington Post reported that Chinese hackers had obtained designs of more than 24 U.S. weapon systems.
Okay, so just so we're really clear, China is known to have stolen countless military defense programs, defense secrets for years now, for probably, I think it was over a period of like getting back 15 years ago. Okay. So starting in, let's say 2010, even before that, probably 2009, 2008, they were experts at cyber theft and stealing plans, stealing secrets. Most recently, I don't have a video for it now, but most recently, a hacker within Google was a Chinese national who had stolen all these secrets of AI and provided it to China. Okay. So what we see is there are a lot of knockoff things, all right, that the Chinese have that are similar to our own things and own capabilities. But it's just like the video showed, it's not always quite right. Okay. It's like, I don't know if you've ever been over in Asia, and just an example, I was living in the Philippines, and what I saw, what I had, I went into like a Dunkin' Donuts, and it was almost right, but it wasn't quite right. Okay, it wasn't quite right. So just like they showed, the tail fin on the airplane, the knockoff airplane that they copied, right, was they flipped the tail upside down. Okay, maybe it was an innovation, maybe it's been a mistake. Okay, so before we get all excited about how powerful the Chinese are, yeah, for sure, I'm USA all the way, right? Marine, all that stuff like that. And I'm also very objective with looking at power. China believes that they're going to be at power parity with us, or they're going to surpass us in power, okay, military power by 2049. That's the China dream. But we've got an answer to that, okay? And not to make it sound like it's a football game, but there's real freedom at stake here. Freedom on the seas, for sure. The strategic lines of communication, the SLOCs, the sea lanes, all right? Human rights, which nobody really talks about that much anymore with China. Well, I know some people do. Some people are probably watching tonight that do. But I'm saying we have such a news cycle that's dominated by domestic politics right now that we don't pay attention to a large looming competitor that is out to take our lunch, right? And we're not even talking about the aliens right now. We're not even talking about the aliens out there, okay? The spacecraft coming down from the sky and getting after us. All right, we're talking about China. But a lot of the things they do, okay, they've stolen so many things from us. So, you have to wonder about their ability to innovate, or just really if it's been, reverse engineering things that they find from us. So, yeah, yep, Soviet aircraft copying Western designs, 100%, all that stuff, okay? So there's a lot to consider out there, and, just to realize that they're knocking off a lot of our things. So, and I think it's important just to remember that, Article 4 was called by Poland for NATO, so... And there's something else really important, too, that I haven't talked about. We're going to talk about this in a moment. But Article 4 was called for NATO, okay? They're consulting with NATO partners. You're one step away from Article 5, which means an attack on one is an attack on all, okay? The U.S. is going to be hemmed up and be totally involved in that, all right? And if at that time China invades Taiwan, all hell's going to break loose. Now, some of the technological advancements I've told you about that I've discovered that I know are going on that have been released publicly say that, we could sink a lot of their ships pretty fast, but some of their hypersonic missiles could sink our ships pretty fast too, from China I'm talking about, all right? So very real concern, very real concern. Now, the next thing to talk about here with this whole situation is that the plot thickens. Poland has called for a no-fly zone over over Ukraine, okay? And this is why Russia is saying that Russia is saying that NATO is at war with Russia right now, okay? Because if we do enforce a no-fly zone, this means shooting down Russian aircraft. All right, no-fly zone, it's not like you say, okay, you can't fly there anymore, and they're going to okay, you understand, you guys are in charge. No, they're gonna have to shoot down aircraft. This means denying the airspace, okay? Poland has called for this, and I don't think that we're going to do that, because this is basically a war with Russia, right? We are shooting down Russian aircraft, and I think it will take a little bit more for us to enforce something like that, like a Russian airstrike within Poland, okay? And at that time, they probably would enforce I'm guessing a no-fly zone over Poland, okay, or something like that. But a no-fly zone over the Ukraine would be an act of war, totally act of war, in my opinion. Okay, so put your questions in the chat. Adil says, Ben, we will not challenge Russia. We shall see, my friend. We shall see. I think it's wise to use economic tools with them, but sometimes, you have to demonstrate strength too. So again, that's where the art of diplomacy comes in. How do you the one thing Putin's going to understand is strength, right? Do we need to attack Russia? I don't think that's probably the smartest move, but I will tell you, Turkey, if you guys remember, Turkey shot down a Russian fighter jet that flew over their territory during the whole Syria thing. Turkey warned them once, they warned them twice when Russia was fighting within Syria to help Syria, to help the Syrian regime. And Turkey shot down their MiGs. They shot them down. I believe it was a MiG. They shot them down. Russia didn't do anything about it, because they were warned several times. And why? Because it would have invoked a lot of problems for Russia if they started messing with Turkey, okay? So we're going to see. I mean, I don't think, as you're saying, Sandra, I don't think Europe's probably ready for a full-scale war either. But I think definitely you have some significant technological warfighting capabilities out of the UK, out of France, out of some of the NATO allies, out of Germany, Italy as well too. You have some significant capabilities, but again, backed by the United States, of course. Okay. And we can get into why is it in our strategic interest to do that. It is definitely to maintain the current balance of power or the economic order, as you want to say. Since fighting World War II, some of the systems and mechanisms we put in place, and that's why NATO exists. Okay. And so to make sure that we don't have a Russian incursion or war start with Russia. All right. Okay. So miscalculation is definitely a real thing. And I think if it happens, as Adil and as Sandra, as you guys are bringing up, but if a miscalculation occurs and we start a war with Russia, you're going to see the scroll that goes across the bottom of the CNN screen. It's always kind of made me laugh because you see like they'll be talking about something very serious. Someone was just killed or, war is going on the bottom. It's like the Cubs are losing to so-and-so 3-0. The Bills are beating the Chiefs. That's what we're hoping for. 25-0 below the bottom. I'm just like, this is pretty comical right now. Like, I think for some of the news, the ticker tape in the bottom has got to stop. It's pretty interesting to me. So, all right. Well, we're gonna move on here, okay? And we're gonna talk about what do we do about all this, okay? So, what do we do? How do we deal with all this stuff? What's the strategy we need in order to deal with the stress out there today and the things that are going on? Right? We got the financial stress. We got the stress from just living in America and the different things we're seeing in the news cycle, potential for World War III, all of that. And what I'm telling you is you got to be able to not just survive, but thrive. That's going to be absolutely crucial for all of us, okay? And so what do we do? That's the big question. What are we going to do? Well, I'm going to tell you. We're going to talk, first of all, about getting your financial strategy together. First of all, you got to have your money, your mindset all put together, okay? And we're going to talk about a financial strategy that's going to help you to bulletproof your finances, bulletproof your wealth, build wealth in times like this. What do you do? Even if it's the first step you have to do is, creating a budget, okay? And the second step is, starting to reduce debt as much as you can. We're going to talk about some of that stuff, though, because I think it's absolutely crucial. It's a game changer when you can change your financial situation. And I'll tell you that it's a fact that the vast majority of Americans, the biggest stress point in their lives is their finances, okay? Money problems is the biggest stress, income problems, debt problems, the biggest stress that we have as Americans, okay? And probably the rest of the world too. Maybe yes, maybe no, but I know definitely for Americans, okay? This is the biggest number one stress. So let's take a look at this video And we're going to talk a little bit more about this. All right. How to actually not just survive, but thrive. How do we thrive? Okay. Let's watch this. We're going to see our friend, old Dave Ramsey, again here. Again, as I've been pumping up so much Bitcoin to you guys, we're going to do a balance today. We're going to talk a bit about some very simple, basic fundamentals in how you get ahead with wealth building. Okay. And then after that, what do you do with the excess, with the extra income you have? Well, I'm going to educate you guys a little bit more about Bitcoin and crypto because I do believe in it. All right. But there are other things as well too. We'll talk about other investment instruments like the S&P 500, all things you can research more on your own, but just getting familiar with the terms and what's out there for you that can make a difference in your lives. All right, here, let's check this out. All right. There's a little monster posed by him right now. But, you know, I can't say that any better myself, okay? And it's so important that we realize that no matter what money you're making right now, you got to look at your income versus your expenses, okay? I know I'm breaking it down Barney style, all right? But like I said, my whole thing with this channel and this podcast is to help you get ahead in life, okay? And so, you know, I mean, I think for me that this is so important that it's so important that you understand your income, you know, your income versus debt ratio, okay? And it's so important that we get a hold of this. We actually, you know, that we actually get a hold of what our income is versus our debt. And you make sure that this doesn't get out of whack for you, because as soon as it gets out of whack, right, you don't pay attention to it. This is not a habit that people that are building wealth do, all right? And I don't know if you guys know this, but Dave Ramsey actually had gone through bankruptcy. He'd actually gone through bankruptcy. And so he's speaking from a place of where, you know, where he had been to the bottom and come back up from the bottom and succeeded. So you have to understand that no matter what money you're making, look at your expenses, okay? And I think probably there are a couple of schools of thought. One thing is this, that you can always try to make more income, get another job, do things like that. But an immediate win is always cutting expenses, right? Working down your debt, cutting out expenses, things like that. You've got to try to get to a surplus of income so that you can eventually invest, which is, you know, really, really crucial, okay? And, you know, I'm going to talk a bit more about Bitcoin as well, too, because I do think the asymmetric returns from Bitcoin are significant, will make a difference in your life. But I'm going to first talk about your mindset as well, okay? Because one of the most important things, all right, one of the most important things with your mindset, okay, is that you have the patience to deal with the ups and downs of investing. You have the patience and discipline to actually sit down and look at your budget, look at your expenses, look at the things you're doing so that you don't just keep doing what you're doing. Because if you're consistent in the wrong way, it's going to really lead you down a bad path and mess you up. So you want to consistently be improving. Make sure you're looking at your accounts, how much money you have versus how much you owe. I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of people, when polled, there are polls that have shown that a lot of people will not, okay, I'll say this again. A lot of people, they will not look at their bank account. They will not look at their expenses. They will not look at their debt. They won't look at their credit cards because they're too stressed out by what they're going to find. Who's been there before? Okay. Who's been there before? Put it in the chat. I'll tell you what, I've been there before. All right. But I'm going to tell you something that I've seen as a common habit of many wealthy people, many successful people. They look at their bank account nearly every day. They look at their expenses and their budget. They're mindful of it and they know it every day. Okay. So if you don't have your budget yet, you don't have your expenses figured out, you don't know how much is going out versus how much is coming in. You got to be the CFO of your own company, the company of you. All right. Again, I know we're breaking this down really basically, but I'm telling you, brilliance in the basics is what's so important. I mean, for example, in special operations, what separates them from conventional forces? All right. It's brilliance in the basics. Okay. So your best, let's say, Marine infantry, Your best, infantry Marines have brilliance in the basics. Your best Marine Raiders have brilliance in the basics. Your best enforced recon, brilliance in the basics. Okay. And then, even going as far as to Delta Force, from guys that I've known that have done that or have, heard Delta Force members talk about, right? Brilliance in the basics. It all goes, and I say that because Delta Force, in my opinion, is the ultimate. That's the highest level of any special operations unit. There's some amazing operators, people, leadership, everything within that organization. But brilliance in the basics. So in our finance, we want to be brilliance in the basics as well too. Okay, so brilliance in the basics is what's going to save you. Know your budget, know your income, know your expenses. Scrub that credit card, okay? Look at the statements, see where things are going. You'll be surprised. You'll be like, where the hell did that come from? Who the hell put this? Who signed me up for this? When did I start paying that? This is crazy right now, okay? So brilliance in the basics on all these things is going to make a huge difference in your life, okay? And so let's go ahead and let's watch this next video. Let's check this one out. Okay. And we're going to talk a little bit more about right now about your mindset, okay? But I want you to have the patience that an investor would have. I want you to have the patience and the discipline like I'm talking about. Your mindset for money matters so much, for your health, for your fitness, for overcoming stress, but also with money. Do you know that I'd heard that the top performing portfolio portfolios in the United States are for dead people. People that have passed away and they left the assets there. They perform better because no one's doing anything, okay? They're invested. They're letting the market take it, okay? The people that are more active in trading and all this stuff, making moves, you're more subject to losing, all right? So again, watch your income, get out of debt, reduce your debt as much as possible. That gives you instant returns right now, okay, to give you more income, and then start investing, okay? Some of those instruments out there, again, S&P 500, the Dow Jones, okay, getting an index fund, opening an account, getting an index fund, investing in your Roth IRA, investing in a 401k, all these things like that are very important. And like I talk about always, Bitcoin, okay? So we're going to talk a little bit more about Bitcoin, the asymmetric returns, okay? I'm just going to touch on it briefly just for a few minutes here, but the asymmetric returns, it can return to you because I really do believe it's an escape hatch, okay? It's the escape hatch that could make a huge difference in your life. And as you have all this turmoil, all this stuff going on, all right, there's a chance for the dollar to be inflated. There's a chance for your dollars to be worth less, right? There's a chance for counterfeiting. There's a chance for all kinds of stuff, right? If we have war and if we have destabilization or things, getting shaky at home, all right? So let's hear a little bit about Bitcoin from Jack Mallers, all right? That was at one of the recent Bitcoin conferences. And here he has to say. He's going to give a good overview in the beginning here of Bitcoin for about a minute, and then we're going to dive in a little deeper, not just on Bitcoin as an investment, but to help us all to understand what actually the idea of Bitcoin and what it means, okay, and why it's important.
What I want my generation to understand, and a lot of the media that's really hard on us, they say, Bitcoin's just for hedge fund bros. It's just for the youth to go get bottle service, and it's the Miami yachts. It's not. My generation is struggling. It's not an investment. It's a revolution first. You see, government debt to me is a form of time travel. If we could just print money, why is there such thing as world hunger? Why is there such thing as poverty? Why is there such thing as depression? Who's burdening the cost? But your jobs and your growth and your income is exploding. Is it though? It's the blues' fault. It's the Reds' fault. It's the left's fault. It's the right fault. It's Trump's fault. It's Biden's fault. Is it though? You're literally traveling into the future. It's spending my resources to go to war.
Okay, so he's giving you an idea of just why Bitcoin's important right now. And instead of pointing all the fingers and just saying, that the devaluation of, the American dollar, of the currency, printing money, inflation, all these different things. The time in 1971, we became unpegged from the gold standard. Okay. All of these things, come into bear there, what he's talking about. He goes through a big explanation. It's a fairly long video, but definitely worth watching. Okay. And so let's go ahead and let's check out some more of the reasons why he's saying Bitcoin's so important. So not Bitcoin first and foremost, what he's saying is not just an investment, but it's other things. Okay. And he goes on to say that, Bitcoin's actually moral code. And I find that really interesting. And so again, in my effort to help upgrade your life, okay, and to help give you the weapons and tools you need to not just survive, but thrive in this world, in the chaos and destabilization, or if the sun is shining, we make hay when the sun shines, right? We're going to go ahead and kick ass, right? But we want to know what's available out there to us so we can seize the opportunities that are there. So let's check out this next explanation. Again, it's later in the video from Jack Mallard, and hear what he has to say on this. Okay, here we go.
Before Bitcoin's about the best performing asset that Wall Street is falling in love with, it's about ethics. It's about morals. This is the moral code that us humans that have paid the cost of a century of money printing, this is the world that we want to live in. No theft, no inflation, no ability to censor. Everyone is treated equally here. No ability to confiscate and counterfeit, right? Now the question is, how can we get away with this? And this is another thing I want the youth out there, those of you on YouTube, to really understand. Because we're sold so much bullshit. So much. And so a guy like me sitting up here in a hoodie sounds crazy.
Okay. So just giving a little idea there about Bitcoin and about, like he's saying, its moral code. You can't steal it. You can't counterfeit it. You can't inflate it. Okay, all these things like that. It exists across, millions of computers, this code. Okay, it's a technology, basically, for a new financial system. That's what they're saying, okay? And so we have a better understanding of, you're not just buying into something that, Bitcoin's just an idea, it's nothing. I mean, gold is an idea, right? Gold has value because we say it does. What are you going to do with gold? Okay, I guess you can use it for some wiring. You could build something out of it. It's malleable. But really, gold has no inherent value, no intrinsic value other than what we give it, okay? So, money and power, all those things like that, these are ideas, all right? And so that's why, yeah, and that's why, exactly, that's why, that's it, Jasmine, exactly. He's dropping some serious truth bombs, right? And so, this is, that's why Bitcoin and why crypto is important. Again, Bitcoin is my main thing. I think Ethereum is also good. Probably Solana, probably XRP. They definitely have real merit, right? Anything outside of that, I don't advocate personally. Bitcoin, I do believe in. But again, as we're talking about a strategy, I think the number one thing, as Dave Ramsey said, right, we want to get control of our debt. We want to get control of our income. We want to have more income than we have debt, than we have expenses, so we can have a little bit to invest, okay? And the first thing Dave Ramsey talks about is having a little emergency fund. Save your first $1,000, okay? And then going from there to create and, paying down your debt, and then creating 3 to 6 months of emergency fund for yourself, all right? And then really going in to start investing, right? And that's where we're investing in, some index funds like the S&P 500, but you're also investing in Bitcoin, okay, to get that asymmetric upside return that can happen. For sure, there's still volatility. But again, all the things I presented to you guys in the past few weeks is that a lot of the volatility, a lot of these experts believe that these huge cyclical changes, they think are kind of done. And here's why. I'll say it again. The reason why, no, I don't believe in that, Nick. But the reason why, okay, is because you have institutional investors like never before. They're flowing in millions and millions and millions of dollars, billions of dollars into Bitcoin, okay? BlackRock, JP Morgan, you name it, all right? Strategy, Michael Saylor's company, he's one of the big, Bitcoin supporters out there, but they're all supporting Bitcoin. They're all supporting, institutional investing. Government, there's a strategic reserve of crypto. Okay. And I guess there's even going to be even more coming out soon. All right. Governments are adopting Bitcoin. That's why I'm saying to you. So this isn't the same as saying, the Dogecoin with some dog on it. Oh, it's speculation. It's like an NFT. It's like digital art, right? This is actually a technology that is being used, with the blockchain for records keeping. And again, like Jack Mallers just said, you can't inflate it. You can't confiscate it. It exists on a record across strength in numbers was his point. I didn't go into that, but strength in numbers that exists across millions of people. Okay. And so no one government or, can control it. Okay. Just so you understand. All right. And yet tons of them are buying it now. So there is a lot of faith in it, just like gold. That's what they call digital gold now. Okay. Again, you don't have to bet the farm on it, but I definitely think it's worth looking into. Definitely think it's worth your investment as well too. All right. What would Brian Boitano do? I don't know. We're going to check it out. All right. Let's keep on going here. So next, when I talk about your financial survival plan, your financial plan to survive, thrive, and build wealth, all that, we also want to talk about physical survival. Okay. Because you've got to make sure you're taking care of yourselves. What they're saying from AI is that our longevity, our health span, our lifespan is about to increase so much. Okay. We're about to really take it to the next level over the next 5 or 10 years to where you can cure diseases. We're able to live longer. We have, CRISPR technology, all these different things. They're saying within the next 5 to 10 years that every year you can live more because of your habits and the way you live. Okay. And the way you take care of yourself, that technology is going to help keep you alive for another year. All right. So I don't know how far that's going to go, but they're talking about increasing the health span and lifespan of people by, 20 years. So the average age, instead of being 78 or 80, gets closer to 100. All right. And so over the next, 50 years, where people on average are living into their 110s, 120s. Okay. This is not science fiction anymore. They're actually saying that. So again, you got to take care of yourself for that reason. But for another reason is that your energy and your attitude are the difference maker in your lives. How are you going to get ahead? How are you going to deal with all the stress, all the things that we were talking about? Okay, all these, the situation, the context of whether it's warfare or whether it's, political violence or whether it's, crime, all these things that are encountering you. Prices, the economy, wages, inflation, debt. How are you going to have the energy to deal with all the things you have to deal with to get ahead in life? You got to take care of your physical fitness. You got to take care of your mindset. You got to take care of your mental focus, your attitude, all those things like that. It makes such a huge difference. I can't say it enough. All right. With what you focus on, you move towards what you focus on, you feel. Okay. Your brain health, you got to take care of that, right? Make sure we're breathing enough. Don't go hypoxic on it. Make sure you're breathing, you're working out, getting more cardio in. When you do cardio, you actually allow your body to recreate neural networks, okay, by doing cardiovascular exercise for like 30 minutes. There have been studies that have shown that. So we want to make sure we're taking care of our mindset, we're taking care of our physical fitness and our energy. And some of the most important things that allow us to have more energy are your sleep, staying hydrated, how well you breathe. If you're doing hypoxic breathing, you're doing stress breathing, all these things like that. When you're stressed out, the reason why they say stress causes disease is because what happens is that our cells are under stress. You're not breathing enough. The next thing you know, they try to mutate to adapt to the stress. And this causes disease. It causes sickness. These are real things, all right? Make sure you're protecting your sleep. Again, my mission here with this channel, this podcast, is to upgrade your life and to make sure you are getting ahead in life. The only way you're going to be able to get ahead in life is you protect your energy, okay? You've got to protect your energy. You've got to protect your mindset, okay? And you've got to be able to have the courage to step forward. Energy is a big part of courage. I'm here to tell you. But you got to have the courage to be able to step forward and to be able to take action on the things that will create real change in your life, okay? If you don't have the energy, you don't have the energy right, you're not going to have the courage, okay? If you don't have the attitude and the energy, you're not going to have the courage, you're not going to take action, all right? And probably you're not going to have the mindset either to do what needs to be done in order to change your life, in order to get out of the hole, okay? Or in order to pay off the debt, in order to make the moves to get more income, all these things, okay? And if you're self-medicating out there, if you're, drinking your nights away, if you're eating low energy food, all right, you are poisoning yourself. You got to cut out the poisoning. You got to cut out the toxins, the poisoning, the toxic relationships, all those things like that. You must protect your energy, okay? Don't let outrage hijack you. Don't make an excuse and you indulge in negative emotions and a negative focus, give you the excuse that, well, the world's going to shit anyway. I'm going to go ahead and drink my brains out and I don't care what happens. I'm going to forget about everything. Face it. Face your fears. Face the pain. Face the difficulties and make a plan for one day at a time to attack the problems, do the tasks that are necessary, build success momentum, and get it done and make a difference in your life, okay? You will thank yourself 1 year from now will thank you for it, okay? I always say first thing is stop the poisoning. The physical poisoning, mental poisoning, relationship poisoning, okay? All those things like that. Cut out the toxins. Number 2, get in the best physical fitness, physical shape you can in your life. You got to build your energy, your power state, like I talk about. What you focus on, you move towards, all right? Yeah, fear will paralyze you, but the more energy you have, the more you can deal with fear, okay? The more courage you'll have. The more you practice doing hard things and overcoming the things that you think are too hard or you're afraid to do, the stronger you'll become, the more courageous you'll become, the better you'll become, the more action you'll take. Action begets more action. It's like a snowball effect. You're going to grow more action. That's how it's going to go, okay? Remember, your money is going to buy time. Money buys time, your strength. Your body is going to give you strength, right? So you have to take action. You got to put yourself in motion, build up your physical strength. I don't care where you're starting from. I don't care how old you are, how young you are. Take action on these things, right? All together, your financial and your physical and your energy, your power state, all right? The clearer minded you are because you cut out these toxins, you're getting enough sleep, you're feeding yourself with the right information and the right food, you're nourishing yourself, you get more energy. You'll be able to do more, okay? You'll be able to take the hits that life gives you better. That's just how it is. You got to understand that. If you're already getting your ass kicked right now, don't add to your ass kicking yourself. Don't create more of an ass kicking by drinking, smoking, doing drugs, doing stupid things, right? Don't do more. Get yourself out of it. You got to start taking action right now to get yourself out of it. It's going to make a huge difference, okay? Put it all together, you're going to be unstoppable. That's what I want to tell you. Put it all together, and you will be unstoppable. Trust me, okay? It's going to make a huge difference. All right, I'm going to take a quick look at any questions we have in the chat here. If you got any questions, put them in the chat. Brick by brick, that's it. Amen. Brick by brick, right? From small things, great things can happen, okay? One step at a time, one brick at a time. Keep showing up. Keep showing up. Keep taking the action. Keep doing it. And next thing you know, you're going to build something. You're going to make a change. You're going to change the situation. Celebrate the small wins, okay? Get clear, get strategic, celebrate the small wins. Sometimes you need to take massive action. Okay, massive action is the way, taking huge amounts of action. That's the way to really make a difference, okay? But even if you start with small actions at first and you build and build and build until you're taking massive action, that matters too, okay? Be brave. You can do it. You can do this. Sandra, you can do it. Everybody out there can do it. Jasmine, you can do it. Lisa, all right? Mark, the emergency fund is a must, 100%. Wow. Isn't that right, Mark? All of a sudden you get hit with an expense, but you got the emergency fund and you're good. Okay, it makes a huge difference. So, yeah, I agree. I mean, checking your portfolio too much can really freak you out. I agree. But checking the daily bank account and daily expenses, that's important. All right, and so if you guys like what we're talking about, I'm just going to make a quick, we have a word from our sponsors right now. If you like what we're talking about and you want to hear more of this, I really strongly encourage you to join my coaching community, my Ferocious Optimist coaching community, okay, and membership. We're going to go live this Friday, 6 p.m., tomorrow night, for our next monthly live group coaching call. Okay, it's going to be an hour private Zoom session with the group, and then we stay for Q&A on Zoom afterwards. It's usually about an hour and a half long, sometimes a little longer, maybe an hour 45. But you get to tee up all your questions and talk to me, ask me questions. I'm going to give you a full hour of power, hour and 15 minutes of deep diving all of the psychological success strategies, financial success strategies, physical success strategies, everything we've just been talking about, okay? Minus the South Park and in the context of the geopolitics and things like that. But really things that I've seen work for myself and my clients and other case studies over the past 6-7 years, and even over the course of my Marine Corps career as a leader, of leading units up and including over 600 people, okay? Through combat, through being a business leader as well too, and everything I've done through that. And the great thing is you got the community. Every day, there's everyday chat in the community. You can DM me anytime. I'll coach you through DMs on a daily basis if need be. You send me a question, I'm going to answer it for you, okay? And I find that people get a lot out of it. I've got members that are in here right now in the chat right here with me, and our members are amazing. We've got some amazing people, really special people in there, okay? So I appreciate you guys showing up tonight. And I'm so sorry, Jasmine. I'm sorry it's on the anniversary of your father's passing. But it's a fantastic place in the community, okay? You're going to get a ton out of it. And the great thing is this, you never have to miss a session. Let's say you can't miss a session. Something very important, okay, has come up, or even an event. Just like Jasmine was saying there, terrible, right? That's a very, very tough event, but you have to miss it. The replay is there for you always. You can replay as many times as you want, okay, in the members area. Replay the video of the coaching session. And also, I do something that almost no other coach does. No one else does that's a consultant like me or a coach. And I include the PowerPoint slides that I teach from, my notes, everything. I put it in there. You can download that. You can look at that. You can watch the video as you're reading the notes, okay? And really have major takeaways that will help you, the tools and strategies I've seen people make that have used to make change in their lives, positive lasting change in their lives. So that's all in there as well too. And there are also some special offers that are included that are only for members, all right, that I don't publish anywhere else. So if you don't have a support community, this is your chance to really get an amazing support community, to get involved and to get a community of people around you. Because again, you become who you hang around. And so the more you hang around with people that have a positive, unstoppable mindset, that are doing things that you want to do in life, okay, and that are talking in ways that help to change the way you think, because if you change your thoughts, you change your life. You direct your thoughts, you change your beliefs, you will change your life. Okay. And if you don't have that community, you don't have that type of people around you naturally, physically, okay, or you don't have that type of support network, I've got one for you. Join my Ferocious Optimist community, my Ferocious Optimist coaching membership, and you're going to get all that stuff and more. It's going to be fantastic. You're going to love it. Trust me. Okay. If you guys have any questions for me about it, put it in the chat, or you can DM me on Instagram. I don't think YouTube has DM at this point, but you can DM me on Instagram and we can talk about it. All right. All right, back to our regular scheduled program. And you know what time it is right now. It is time right now to dive into a little bit of South Park. All right, let's go ahead and do this. It is the moment you've all been waiting for. Call your friends. Send this to someone. Share it with somebody who you know wants to get this and would like to see this, because we're about to do it. Let's see what they got for us this week. All right, here we go.
We go back to the doctor, we go back to the specialist who talks to the insurance company. The facts is the medical advisors on the phone in the mountain. And we're going in one place and we're coming out the other place. And we're back over here now, and I was just over there. And I'm getting confused, and it's getting dark. And my mind is all different colors. And I think I'm wrong. It's dark.
All right, that's South Park navigating the healthcare system. Who here has felt like that before, right? Where he said, we're going back to the one place and then to the other place. And I'm calling the doctors, who's calling the insurance, who's talking to some guy in the Maldives who's saying no. I mean, is that a Zembic episode? Oh, good. I'm so glad you saw it. Awesome, Phoenix. Yeah. So, I mean, but it's crazy. It's crazy. There's a lot out there. And one thing I've learned again is about, the medical expenses piling up on people who are sick. It's some crazy stuff. But that's one of the things that frustrates me so much. Yep, exactly. I hear you, Jasmine. But that's one of the things that's so crazy. Like, why can't we just go to one place? Why can't you just go to the specialist? Like, if you got the insurance, why can't you just call them and say, yeah, I need to go here, and they'd send you there? But you got to go to the one place, then go back to the other place, and then back to the other place, then call the insurance. It's a real nut show, I don't know what the answer is. Honestly, I know they've tried at the political level, at different policies, things like that. But boy, oh boy, it is a pain in the ass, and it's freaking not fun. Yeah, I know, Lisa. I know. I can only imagine. Is it a lot different, Jasmine, for you guys there in Canada? I can imagine it is. But yeah, that one struck me because I just really thought, South Park's got some crazy stuff, definitely for sure. That'd be really funny. But I'm trying not to get the show blocked like it was that one time. Or to get us totally censored. And actually YouTube, believe it or not, guys, I don't know if I've done anything crazy now. YouTube flashed a warning across my screen a minute ago, or about 10 minutes ago, and was like, warning, you may be blocked if you are playing this or that. I thought, what the hell? I've never seen that before. Anyway, so that's why we won't probably go full crazy South Park just yet. Maybe later on as we develop the show. But yeah, the system is pretty messed up. I agree with you. Something's got to be done. I don't know what to do. But I mean, even when you have insurance, there's still a lot of the back and forth and delays and things like that, unless it's a real emergency. And then I can't even imagine if you don't have insurance, crazy, crazy stuff. Very, very hard, for sure. Very hard. All right, let's check out this next one. Yeah, I'm sure, Nick. Maybe that's what it was. They're reaching through and getting me. All right, let's check this one out. The next in our South Park segment, the moment you've all been waiting for. Let's see what we got here. I don't even know what we have here anymore, but I'm going to find it. If I can find it. Let's see. I know I got another one here. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Oh my God, I can't even believe I got this one. All right. Tell me if you recognize this episode.
Bill Belichick proved that in America it's okay to cheat as long as you cheat your way to the top.
Hey, I don't want to be called a cheater.
No. If you cheat and fail, you're a cheater. If you cheat and succeed, you're savvy.
This really short clip. And I just put on NFL Game Day, Game Pass or something for some reason. Yeah, really short clip, but it says so much. It says a lot. Put it in the chat. What you guys think, right? What do you think? Bill Belichick says that if you cheat, it's okay. If you cheat, but if you cheat and get caught, you're a cheater. But if you cheat your way to the top, and you cheat and win, cheat your way to the top, you're savvy. That's what he's saying. If you've seen that full episode, it's pretty damn funny. And I got to keep some of these clips to a minimum. Otherwise, I will be blocked. I'll wake up the next day and they'll be like, your video is blocked worldwide. No one can see it because you triggered all this stuff. So anyway, got to stay within the guardrails there for right now. Yeah, I mean, right? Put in the chat, though. I mean, how many examples have we seen of this? That, if you cheat and win, you're successful. You're called savvy. It's scary. And what kind of message are we sending to the youth today? What kind of message are we sending to everybody? Not just the youth, but everybody. Right? Is that we see people getting ahead in life that we know got some shady stuff going on, right? And yet there they are. And so it's interesting, And so as they used to say in the Marines, they'd say, is it justice or is it just us? Right? So interesting. But again, leadership lessons, what we're talking about here, the leadership lessons of South Park. And so make sure as you lead people, when you're in charge, and even when you're not in charge, okay, if you want to have credibility, the best way to have credibility is to do your best to talk straight, right? I was going to say live with integrity, 100%. But nobody's perfect. No one is perfect, okay? And if you did something wrong, you got something wrong, I think talk about it, right? No one's perfect out there. And so I think it's important to understand the old saying, like, person in glass house should not throw stones. It's also important to, go away from the Bible. He or she who is without sin, cast the first stone. And in this case, so it's not about judgment as much as it is about, living to your best with, talking straight. Don't cheat. If you mess it up and you fail, right? Whatever happened to that? Success at all costs. That's something to really think about. I think, we have to all be in some self-reflection. As a leader, you gotta have the power of self-reflection. It's one of your most important weapons. Otherwise, you might start doing things and acting in certain ways that you said you wouldn't. You start doing things that you said you weren't going to, okay? And you're talking out of both sides of your mouth, right? And you're doing things that you might be judging other people on, saying, well, you can't do that. Look what they're doing. Meanwhile, you're doing worse behind the scenes over here, okay? Or you're lying and cheating and stealing all your way to the top, right? So in leadership, you want to maintain credibility. You want people to follow you. I mean, it's so important to talk straight, right? Give respect to get respect, okay? Listen, set the example. Where's that? Wow, man, set the example. Are we doing that today? Is that big today? Are we seeing that today a lot? It's hard, right? It's hard. Setting the example is hard. It's not easy. It's a burden. It's not easy at all. And that's why, you always got to take a look at your intentions that matter a lot as a leader. Okay. And as we joke about South Park. And again, with the first clip with the healthcare, simplicity, keep it simple, stupid. It's called KISS. Okay. This is a leadership principle in and of itself. Keep it simple, stupid. That South Park clip talked about the healthcare system. Why is it so frustrating? Yeah, we got to fix it. But I'm going to say more broadly, what lesson can we draw? Keep it simple, stupid. Whatever you're giving somebody direction, keep it simple, stupid. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't over-engineer, right? Don't make it harder than it has to be. Keep it simple. Makes a huge difference. Just keep it simple. I agree, Sandra. Build respect, truth, love, all those things. Boy, oh boy, we need more of that today, huh? We need more understanding, more love. Yep. We need that. We need it more than ever, for sure. Okay. So we're going to try something a little bit different tonight. We're going to try a little bit of a commentary on some absurd news. We're going to see what we have out here. I got some clips for you guys I think you'll enjoy. Just for some fun. Yeah, simplicity is key. And so what do we got floating around out there right now? Well, I'm going to show you. This actually is pretty funny. I'm not going to lie. Like, I really cracked up seeing this. I think you guys will too. Check out this cat, right? So even cats are freaking out over things right now. The world's in chaos, right? A lot of chaotic things happening. And check out this cat. He's freaking out too. What? I don't know about you guys. I haven't seen something like that. That's absolutely hilarious. Even cats are like, freaking out, right? They're having stress. We don't understand. We're feeling stress. Well, so are they, right? They're reflecting back on us all the things that we're feeling. I wonder, because sometimes they say pets will imitate their owners, okay? If they've got some, drama king or drama queen in the house there, because I've never seen a cat act like that. That's pretty damn funny, right? Freaking out. I feel that way sometimes. People take stuff away from me. All right. Let's check out this next one. This is actually pretty funny too. Okay. So I guess right now in McDonald's, have you guys seen this? McDonald's has changed their wardrobe up to where workers are wearing like tight jeans and things. And like, they're getting a lot of comments. Let's see what this is all about. So I gotta get a pair of these McJeans, but I guess this is a thing now, only in certain countries, certain places. I'm not sure where this is, maybe in Europe, where they have to wear like the tight jeans, and they're trying to sex it up a little bit at McDonald's. So they're serving. It's like a little bit crazy, right? Anyway, tell me in the chat, have you guys seen that? It's definitely not any McDonald's around here. I got news for you. I hate to say this, right? But, I don't think a lot of the people that I've seen in some of the local McDonald's would even fit into jeans like that. So anyway, just saying, right? But that's neither here nor there. They got to get in the physical fitness plan. So what else do we have here? Let's see what else I found. What else did I find here in the news? Let's see. Latest, greatest news. We got a couple more for you guys. Oh, here's one. Okay. All right. On a little bit more serious note, but yeah, Jimmy Kimmel got suspended. You guys saw that, right? So, I mean, it's not to make light of it, but I think, we're seeing more comedians getting fired and getting canceled than Netflix is canceling shows, right? But really, what I saw here, when I saw what happened with Jimmy Kimmel, some of the things pretty callous. But at the end of the day, he is a comedian. He's going to say crazy things. So, I don't know. You have to think about for yourself. Do you agree with that firing or not? I think we go on a slippery slope. We start, canceling everybody that says anything or, tries to make a joke. Now, some of the things he was saying, I thought I didn't agree with at all. But again, a lot of comedians getting canceled right now. A lot of them getting canceled and getting fired. And hey, I guess in a good way, at least it wasn't Will Smith going up and punching him out. Okay, so that probably would have been a little harder, a little bit worse. So that's also in the news. I know that's a big story. Right, exactly. I still think about that. Will Smith going up there and smacking the hell out of Chris Rock. I thought it was staged. Do you guys still think that was staged, or do you think that was real? Absolutely crazy. And then, of course, because I can't leave you guys hanging here, I cannot leave you hanging without a little bit of alien action. We're going to talk about really quickly just a small story here because I can't help myself. NASA Perseverance rover uncovers intriguing leopard spots on Mars. Strong hint of life yet? Well, I saw an interview with a NASA expert basically saying that they found that this is very strong evidence of life on Mars, okay? And it was millions of years old, okay? So I don't know how much that really tells us, everybody. I don't really know what that tells us, but they're saying that it is the strongest hint of life yet. The leopard spots on Mars that look like it could have been life on Mars. I know Elon Musk is probably going crazy right now, wants to get there faster than ever. Elon, go for it. I think it's awesome. Take us out to Mars. And we will be back with more alien news. Don't worry. Next week, we will definitely hit it up. There's a little bit of a slower alien news week this week. But in a wrap up, let's talk about, so what did we learn tonight? We learned that Putin is still flexing his muscles. She's still copying in China. America is still outraged. We're still outraged, right? Outraged on the left, outraged on the right. And for good reasons for some of them, for sure. And the Kansas City Chiefs still, until my Bills beat them, are still ruining my Bills' chances until they get done away with. They're still ruining my raining on my parade over there with the Bills. But here's the real point. The world's in chaos, right? We have a lot of stuff in chaos. In our country, there's madness, as I call it, all right? Inflation, debt, outrage, absurdity, all these different things going on. AI war, possible real World War III. And you've got two choices in life, right? overall, you've got two real choices. Be afraid of it, let it steal your energy, or master it, okay? Understand the context you're in and where you're at, and decide, despite all the chaos, despite all the absurdity, despite the crazy cat crying and screaming, despite this McDonald's jeans, I'm going to master my world. I'm going to focus on what I can control, okay? I'm going to build wealth. I'm going to master my mindset. I'm going to master my physical fitness. I'm going to take charge, okay? I'm going to sharpen my knowledge, my skill set. I'm going to face my fears every day and push through them and grow, okay? And I'm going to build unstoppable mindset and unstoppable energy. This is how you do it. This is how you not just survive, but you thrive in the chaos, in the madness that we're seeing all around us, okay? Like I always say too, you know, in every problem is an opportunity. And the chaos itself is not a threat, all right? It's definitely your opportunity. How can this serve you now? What can you learn from this? How can you grow from this? Because I'm going to tell you right now, like the old saying goes, I asked God for strength and he gave me problems. I believe when we push through our problems, we push through our fear, we will continue to grow and you will become a stronger, better version of yourself than ever before. All right. And as I always say, closing out the show is that make yourselves better, make the world better, believe in yourselves. I believe in you, and go get yours. Let's go. All right, everybody. I'll take a look at any questions you have here. And if there are no questions, I will see you all next week. Okay. I'll see you all actually on Sunday. We'll kick it back off Sunday at 4 p.m. with the next live. I appreciate all you guys being here. And again, hit me up and tell me what you're interested in. If you guys have any feedback for me, I'd love to hear from you. And I appreciate all of you. Thank you for sticking with me, for watching. This is my core supporters. I appreciate you guys. And don't forget, if you don't have that support community, you don't have that support group, I've got one for you in the Ferocious Optimist community and coaching membership. All right, it's there for you. Click the link in my bio. That's where you can find it. You'll learn everything about it, and I'd love to see you there. All right, everybody, go get yours. I will see you on Sunday. Let's go.